Compare and contrast Hamlet. Throughout his time, Shakespeare created many pieces of work, of varying styles. He primarily wrote comedies, historical pieces, and tragedies. One of his most famous tragedies is Tragedy of Hamlet, Prince of Denmark. While it was written by William Shakespeare, it has been rewritten into film multiple times since it was published. Two directors made their versions of Hamlet in their own ways. Kenneth Branagh and Gregory Doran's interpretations of the scene, To Be or Not to Be, are similar in the fact that they both speak in somber tones, yet different in scenery and lighting, and the speech is only read completely by one portrayal of the play. Over the years, Hamlet has been portrayed by many people. Here are just two people that were chosen to play him in the film examples. On the left is David Tennant, and on the right is Kenneth Branagh. Shakespeare's works still shake the theater world years after his passing, specifically in the film area. Kenneth Branagh and Gregory Doran are two men who directed their own ideas of how the play was executed. Similarly, they both decided that the To Be or Not to Be monologue should be spoken in a somber, mellow tone. In Gregory Doran's version, David Tennant played Hamlet, and he spoke the monologue starting off into the distance, seemingly at war with his emotions. In Branagh's version, he himself plays Hamlet and gives him the somber, angry vibe, arguing with himself. While the scenes were executed similarly in tone, they varied in the setting. In Gregory Doran's version, David Tennant is a young man, seemingly in his early to mid-20s, presented in a shadowed area leaning against a wall, staring off into the distance. In Kenneth Branagh's version, he instead chooses a well-lit ballroom covered in mirrored doors. He says the speech using the whole room, using Ophelia, who is present, by pushing her against the one-way mirrored door at one point for dramatic effect. Kenneth Branagh directs in a way that his emotions are spoken through his actions, while Gregory Doran lets the setting speak for him by making things dark and focusing on Hamlet's words. Here are just two visual representations of the difference in the scenes. Throughout the years, many directors have taken their own interpretation on how much of the original text should be inserted into the movie. In Kenneth Branagh's version, the text is spoken word for word, especially in the To Be or Not to Be speech. In the Gregory Doran version, he chooses to have David Tennant omit some lines from the speech. This is a huge decision on Gregory Doran's behalf, because he had to make a choice on what was important and what wasn't. Regardless, the two directors make the choices to eliminate or keep parts of Hamlet's original speech. Shakespeare created a plethora of works throughout his time, and humanity in the modern day has tried their best to recreate them the best they could. Two directors have taken their own approach to the work Hamlet in various ways. A specific scene from the two films directed by Gregory Doran and Kenneth Branagh show both similar and different qualities. While they both direct Hamlet to show somber and mellow tones, Kenneth Branagh decides to make the setting in a bright, open room and use it all, and Gregory Doran chooses to use a small, dimly lit area and focus more on Hamlet's words rather than the room. All of this considered, Kenneth Branagh directed the film word for word from the script, and yet Gregory Doran decides to take specific parts out of it. Shakespeare once wrote, "An honest tale speeds best being plainly told."